you need. From the financials and political capitals of the world to the heart of innovation, this is Opportunities to Consider with your host, author, speaker, and corporate strategist, Hunter Gaylor.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of You Got It, You Guessed It. You're obviously here, Market Hunters. We are coming to you here on Tuesday, right at the end, right after Memorial Day. We hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend, but we are right back in the saddle, bringing it to you live. A lot of opportunities to consider in the marketplace today, and I'm thrilled to be joined by the CEO of ByoPlanet. I'm joined by Rick O'Shea. Rick, thank you so much for joining us on the Market Hunters program.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you. And happy Memorial Day weekend pass to you as well.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. What I'd like to do to start out is really just kind of dive into, what is ByoPlanet, who is ByoPlanet, and who is Rick O'Shea. I think this is really important for our audience and our listeners across all the channels. And just so that everyone knows, we're coming to you across Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're streaming live, YouTube. You'll be able to see all of this information will be posted. Everything that Rick talks about today is going to be posted in the bottom, in the description below. So make sure you like, follow, and share. Now, I do want to put a note out. Rick, your company, just as you were informing me before the program today, just literally went public last week. So now you're a publicly traded company trading currently under the ticker symbol PLPL.
Yeah, that's correct.
Wonderful. Well, let's just dive right into it, Rick. That's what we like to do here on the Market Hunters program. We like to really just kind of get to understand for the first kind of, conversation with you. Talk to us a little bit about ByoPlanet and what you're doing and what makes you unique.
Well, ByoPlanet's been around for quite some time, well before the pandemic. We kind of got our start in the cruise industry. The cruise industry had a huge problem with the GI, which is the norovirus, and it's probably plagued the cruise industry. They call it the cruise industry bug. But in all realness, 21 million people a year get norovirus, and most of it's in nursing homes. But the press loves to go ahead and cover when a ship goes down with norovirus because they have a captive audience, and these cruise ships have big brands, big names, so sure, they have a lot of brand equity at stake here. So it is we've done a phenomenal job. We introduced induction charge electrostatics to the cruise industry back in the 2010 days.
Oh, wow.
And
we did a little bit about that real quick, not to cut you off here, but walk us through a little bit. Obviously, for a lot of our listeners, everyone went through a major learning curve when it comes to cleaning, to disinfecting, when the coronavirus, this global pandemic that we all went through occurred. When you talk about the brands that you worked with in the cruise industry's shut down during COVID, right?
Correct.
And major airline companies and everything. Walk us through the specific technology of this electrostatic type devices and cleaning products that you have and why that's different than maybe just the standard run-of-the-mill things that we would see at our local Home Depot or Lowe's.
Absolutely. So anyways, when you talk about the cruise industry, Carnival Cruise Line, Carnival Corporation was our first client. And then quickly after that, Royal Caribbean adapted our technology quickly after that as well. And the issue with the difference between electrostatics and regular trigger sprayers is regular trigger sprayers cover a very small area space. With electrostatics, you can go ahead and cover millions of square feet in a short period of time. So for instance, we can cover one individual can go ahead and cover up to 18,000 square feet in an hour. So, wow. And using little over a gallon of chemistry. So we are, from a labor standpoint, we are extremely efficient. And from a chemical dispersing, we're extremely efficient as well. And so with regards to chemistry you don't need a lot of chemistry onto the substrate or in the air to go ahead and unravel a pathogen or a virus. So the idea for electrostatics is large areas and to go ahead and bring a lot of value. So you can go ahead and this electrostatics not only scrubs the air and attaches onto the air pathogens and particles that are floating around in the air, but it also runs behind things and in those hard to reach areas, which are very difficult to go ahead and manually get to. So we were very positive that our technology would be successful on board the cruise ships, and it was. I mean, you can see a drastically reduce in noro outbreaks. You're always going to get noro outbreaks on board cruise ships. You're going to have asymptomatic people show up. They have noro. Now, where the technology comes in, how do you contain it?
Right.
And we have an unbelievable ability to go ahead and contain it because of our ability to go ahead and scrub the air.
Well,
for instance, go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just reading here for our audience. You know, one of the interesting things here, and I want to talk about this particular product here. You have a compact series. This is the delivery mechanisms, right? So you have like the backpacks they wear. But I want to go back to what you said, which is, I think, very critical for the audience. It's the disinfectants, the chemicals, okay? Now, these types of chemicals, obviously they're disinfectants, but it's sanitizing in high trafficked areas, okay? So when we talk about, and we hear it all the time, you go into hospitals and you have disinfectants, right? Or we use hand sanitizer, we use, all these different types of things. If it's not creating, and I just want to go back to what you were saying, it doesn't take a lot of chemistry. So that means you're actually very sustainable in your business model. We're not using a lot of waste or harmful chemicals that would basically provide negative impact, right? These are positive, low impact chemicals when you're making this, correct?
That is correct. So we lean hard on a chemistry. It's called Clean Republic. And it is an HOCl.
Okay.
Which is hydrochloric acid. So, which is in theory, it's charged salt water. So it's extremely safe. They use that same chemistry to disinfect water. To purify water. So there's a lot of opportunity there for HOCl to go ahead and be beneficial in a lot of parts of your day-to-day cleaning and usage.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the corporate growth. You're obviously public now, and as you continue to get the message out and you're providing shareholder value, talk to us about kind of the trajectory and the growth of the company. I mean, you've listed some incredible names. I can, as a first count, have been on Carnival, I've been on Royal Caribbean, I've been on, a lot of these things. So I understand, people have gotten sick. I've witnessed it firsthand. So I understand exactly what you're saying. And of course, I'm in the state of Florida, and, given everything that's going on from a political perspective, Florida's open for tourism. In fact, I just want to make a point why this is so interesting to have this conversation for a lot of our viewers. Port Canaveral, where Disney Cruise Lines and Carnival is the second most popular tourism port now, really in the world. So a lot of people are going back, and the cruise industry, I think, is starting to see a little bit of a bounce back. But talk to us. Is it just cruises that's your big flagships? Or, this seems to me like you would be in hotels like Marriott's and airlines and, all sorts of things where there's mass, a culmination of people.
Well, yes. I think it's, a cruise ship is a floating hotel.
Right.
But we were fortunate enough to go ahead and during ByoPlanet's run, we signed a deal with our Clorox Corporation. So the Clorox company, we are the electrostatic technology behind the rolling cart of which we call the Clorox 360 program. And that is our technology. So yeah, this technology for any kind of spaces to disinfect cars, for instance, in small areas. You saw that AutoNation did a huge push with the Clorox company to go ahead and disinfect cars at their facilities. So that today is hugely successful for them as well. They do tens of millions of dollars a year disinfecting cars. So, the opportunity for electrostatics, it's a sophisticated delivery system of whatever you're trying to deliver to a substrate or scrub the air with. So the opportunities are theoretically endless.
Well, no, it clearly, just by going through and reading some of this, and I was reading up a little bit about the company, school systems. I see here that ByoPlanet's worked in, K through 12 schools, and evaluation of conventional cleaning and disinfection and electrostatic disinfectant spraying in K through 12 schools. Obviously, this was a big thing during the pandemic. Schools were shut down. They're nervous because, kids, tracked a lot of, diseases and sickness and flus and all sorts of things like this. So the cleaner the schools, obviously, the quicker they could be reopened. Talk to us a little bit about that market. I mean, is the government really kind of stepping in and creating, more responsible cleaning? I mean, I probably shouldn't even say that. We should all probably try to be clean, right, Rick? So, but are they are they making this more important issue, saying, look, we need to make sure we're using the best type of technology that we can be to be creating, safer, cleaner environments, especially in our education systems?
Well, I mean, you still have the same problems you've always had. I mean, just the COVID virus is gone, or it's still lingering, but you're still going to have flu. You're still going to have GI. You're going to still have, your everyday, viruses that are going to go ahead and, plague your schools. I mean, you're talking about a ton of cross contamination from kids coming in from, different households. So, I mean, hygiene is definitely important no matter where you go to. But especially when you have a bunch of people gathering, it's more critical then.
So, Rick, let's dive a little bit into the company. We started getting, you said possibilities are endless, right? And I really love that answer, and I think it's a great thing to talk about. But strategically running to scale the company in a way that you can get much larger market share now that you're a publicly traded entity. What are some of the main industries you're going to be focusing on? Obviously, the relationship with Clorox is of utmost importance, and especially in the public markets world. So, where are you positioning ByoPlanet in the public space from a market share acquisition strategy?
Well, before we go forward, I just want to clear up that we unwound our contract with Clorox back in late of December 2021. So we had a difference of opinion on technology. So we decided to go our separate ways. But also just a real quick touch on schools is that, I think that we installed a lot of technology into the schools during the pandemic. And there was a big influx of this technology, which is currently sitting in closets. And I think that most people feel, janitors in schools think that this technology is a case-based scenario with, hey, this is a COVID tool or an outbreak tool. This is not. This is, I mean, we have studies that show that we reduce labor costs by up to 75%. So I think that it's going to take a while for us to go ahead and re-educate after the COVID push, because electrostatics was so popular during that time. And I think that a lot of people just don't want to talk about COVID anymore because it's exhausting.
Right.
And so anything that associates with COVID is not accepted with open arms, so to speak. But I mean, a lot of these schools have phenomenal technology that they currently have on campus that could bring a lot of value to the teachers and to the students and parents as well, because really the parents get affected a lot when the kids come home with these viruses, because it spreads throughout the house. And that's why we were so we were a driving force of being the only handheld induction charge technology in the world that really does what it says it does. And that brings a lot of value to the household as well, because of mom or dad can go ahead and disinfect the student's room or the kitchen and the house. And it really changes the environment. And we just got new studies saying that it increases your sleep patterns.
Oh, wow.
If you spray and clean the air before you go to bed. And we all know what happens when you have a good night's sleep. Your immune system gets stronger, your mood gets better, your health, it's an anti-aging as well. More sleep you get is an anti-aging element as well. So, I mean, there's a huge amount of opportunity that people just need to go ahead and take a breath and say, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and, first of all, let's be prepared just in case for the off chance that we do have another pandemic. Are you prepared? And then also, why don't we use the tools that we have currently that we've already paid for to go ahead and bring some value to the end user and to the public?
Well, that to say is a breath. We should take a breath of fresh air, right? Because it will,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
It'll be
Good call on
clean,
that.
right? So, but no, I think that's very important. So, if people want to get more information about the company, they can go to bioplanet.com and research everything that they need. Let's talk about the end consumer. The target focus right now, is it for the household? Where can they purchase the products from? Are you in some of the big box retailers, or is this something they have to contact you directly?
We are currently not in the big box because we just launched this new technology less than 6 months
Oh,
ago.
wow.
Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a trying time for during the pandemic that we tried many a times to go ahead and get it out, but we just couldn't get it to work. So we are the first of the science that has this technology that does work. There's other handhelds out there that are in the big box stores that, in my humble opinion, they're fraudulent.
Really?
And
Okay.
yeah, there is. I could name off some names, but they now that we are in a different, we're away from our friends at our good friends at Clorox that did send out a few cease and desist letters in the past. We are now going to go ahead and really push hard and try to clean up the electrostatic market because there's a lot of fraud out there, and it's shameful. It's shameful, especially when the stakes are so high and they're using these fraudulent products in nursing homes,
Mm.
and people are feeling that they're getting the coverage that is being advertised and they're not getting. It's dangerous, and it could lead to a bad result, which we saw a lot of bad results during the pandemic up in there that could have been avoided with proper technology and chemistry.
Well, obviously, this is exciting industry. I mean, it's cleanliness, as we know, is next to godliness, as the saying goes, right? And but I
Amen.
think it's very important that when we look at companies like BioPlanet, what you're trying to do, it's not just, hey, look, here's a product, we're returning shareholder value, our stock price is going to increase, everyone's going to be happy, we're all going to sing kumbaya. That's really not the thing here. What you just said in that previous statement was very informative, because you're also informing the public, right? You're informing them on, hey, listen, a lot of the products out there you might think because you can read a label. And I've interviewed other CEOs that are in the in a similar space. We'll say it in the sustainability with water purification and things like that. And we always talk with them. It's like companies say they're sustainable, but they're not really sustainable. They're just putting the green sticker on them saying, oh, look, we filled out the application, we got the sustainability sticker, but you're not sustainable at all. So I really like the education. And I did see some of the case studies on your site. And I encourage all of the listeners here to go listen to and go read, not just this podcast with Rick, the CEO of ByoPlanet, but also go look at their website. They have case studies where they actually talk about the benefits and the positive aspects, especially when we're talking about sleep, the environment, being much more clean than it is right now, just by changing their daily habits and things like that. So I think that's very important. So you're not just creating, you're actually informing and educating as well. And I think that's important, because I think a lot, especially now, there's a lot of negative things going on in industry, especially in the marketplace, where there is a lot of fraudulent activity and a lot of lip service. They're not really giving you the actual real technology that works. So kudos and hats off to you on that. Rick, just kind of in closing really
Thank you.
quick, and I really appreciate you taking the time to join the program. Is there anything you'd like to leave our listeners with today that would be informative for them, or any information that you want to share of the exciting growth or developments of your company, whether it's domestic or international?
Yeah, I mean, we just signed last week with USEF, which is the United States Equestrian Federation. They have a huge outbreak issues with strangles and also the horse herpes, and that is usually acquired during their horse shows. So we've partnered in with Merck Animal Health, and they are large. Obviously, Merck is a Fortune 100 company, and they did extensive due diligence on our technology, and saw and choosed us. So I mean, we're winning for in many battlefields there. We are the only electrostatic induction charge technology recognized by GBAC, which is the Global Biorisk Advisory Council. They are a part of the ISSA, which is the cleaning industry. So, we have a lot of R&D coming down the pipeline. We are a very R&D heavy company. We stand by what we say we market, because of the performance of our technology does work. We're just not, a lot of these fraudsters out there, they're using our marketing material and saying that theirs is doing just the same, which is they're using contact charging, which is just not the right physics for spraying chemistry. Chemistry is heavy loaded in sodium, which is salt. And if you don't know what you're doing, it will go ahead and you'll have leakage currents within seconds. And you just bought a $30 or $100 or a $500 electrostatic sprayer that worked for maybe 15 seconds. So, understand and do your research before you make a purchase. Ryobi came out with an electrostatic sprayer. They didn't even try to go ahead and put electrostatics in it. They just put a sticker on it, which is shameful as well. Such a big company, not even trying. And then there's just a laundry list of them coming over from China. I mean, I can take a Febreze bottle, a voltage multiplier, and a needle and make you an electrostatic Febreze bottle that would last for about 15 seconds.
Wow.
So understand the science and, trust in a company that is willing to go ahead and really give you the data that you're looking for. If you don't believe our technology works, come to our facility in Athens, Georgia. Athens is pretty much the home of electrostatics. The University of Georgia was paramount in driving this into the agricultural world for the last 30 years. So, we stand by what we say we're going to do, and we want to go ahead and bring value. And I think the technology brings a lot of value to a lot of parts of the world, especially if you've got a kid or a older parent that has immune issues, immunity to this issue, or you came home from surgery and you need to go ahead and disinfect your house. Or so there is just a multitude of avenues that you can use the technology for. And we're here to go ahead and bring you the very best.
Well, I think that's a great way to start, Rick. Thank you so much to you and your company for coming on to the Markets Hunter program. We're going to keep a very keen eye on what ByoPlanet's going to be doing, especially in the future. We think this is very important. And also, like I said to all of our listeners out there, make sure you like and subscribe and share this interview out with your colleagues as well. Take special note to their ticker symbol, because it may be changing, Rick. Possibly down the line, might be changing the ticker symbol.
Yes, it will be.
Yeah, so just make sure you follow it. They'll be posting all of that out now that they're a publicly traded company. So, Rick, once again, thank you so much for joining the Market Hunters program.
Well, thank you for having me, and I look forward to the next one.
Absolutely. It's going to be great. Thank you so much, Rick. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you just saw another episode of Markets Hunters with yours truly, Hunter Gaylor here, coming to you live. Whether it's in New York or we're on the road talking and looking at these companies, having one-on-one conversations with the leadership that are actually moving these companies forward, because that's really the goal here, is we want to hear right from the leadership themselves. So thank you everyone again for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe, share this with your friends. Make sure you follow us on LinkedIn as well. We're getting a lot of traction on LinkedIn. So follow us. The message is getting out there. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Markets Hunter.